how to win at anything, they lied to you. They said winning is only for those born with talent, with luck, with the right connections. They told you to wait for the perfect timing, for the stars to align, for life to be under control before you could take action. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Winning at anything has nothing to do with where you are right now, and everything to do with who you're willing to become. Have you ever wondered why some people, even with less money, less time, less support, still find a way to win? It's not magic. It's long-term mindset, consistent action, and relentless discipline. While most people are still dreaming, they're doing. While others wait for motivation, they move without it. And maybe, just maybe, you're one step, one decision, one habit away from changing everything. But here's the catch. That change doesn't start on the outside. It's not about a new course, a new job, or a new year. It starts right here, inside, with one simple decision. Will you keep being a spectator in your own life? Or are you finally going to act the way your future self would? Get ready, because what you're about to hear will challenge everything you've been told about success. There's no mystical secret here. There's method, there's clarity, there's execution. We're going to break down the excuses, expose the mental games of self-sabotage, and show you how to turn any goal into real progress. If you're ready to win, truly win, at anything, this is the beginning of your new story. But only if you're willing to hear what no one else had the courage to tell you. What to do. Win by impressing your future self. In the silence of your most restless nights, there's a voice whispering what most people choose to ignore. The real game isn't about beating others. It's about impressing your future self. That version of you watching from a distance. The one who expects more, who demands discipline, who wants to see you grow. More than anything, that future you wants you to honor the journey. Sure, it's easy to get distracted by other people's success or fall into the trap of constant comparison. But here's the truth. There's only one judge that truly matters in the courtroom of life. The version of you that's already won. Everything else is just noise. Everyone, literally everyone, already knows what not to do. You know eating junk makes you feel worse. You know procrastination kills your confidence. You know complaining about your environment won't move the needle. So why not flip the script? Grab a sheet of paper and write down everything you do that pulls you away from your purpose. Then, like a real strategist, reverse it. I sleep in late becomes I wake up early. I'm disorganized becomes I execute with focus and consistency. It's like unlocking an old door with a brand new key. Simple, but powerful. And here's the thing. If you show up late every day, failure is a mathematical guarantee. But flip that habit, be on time. Not just for work, for everything. Meetings, workouts, and especially for promises you make to yourself. Because if you're breaking your word with others, chances are you're breaking it with yourself too. This one shift in behavior might seem small, but it's where real habits are born. It's how self-awareness grows, and how your minimum standard of excellence rises. And guess what? Repeating that builds a whole new identity. Remember when you used to look up to someone and think, wow, that person's unstoppable. They weren't born that way. They just followed simple patterns with insane consistency. You want to learn to play the piano? Start with 10 minutes a day. You want to lose weight? Swap soda for water. You want to start a business? Begin by offering something simple. Even editing videos counts. Consistent action, even the smallest kind, always beats a perfect plan you never execute. And trust me, what seems small today can create massive leverage tomorrow. Maybe you're thinking right now, but where do I even start? The answer is clear, and yes, it might feel uncomfortable. You start now, not later, not next Monday, not when life calms down. Because the person who waits for calm waters to learn how to sail never leaves the shore. And even if it feels too soon, it's already time to figure out how to do what you said you would. Because knowing what to do without knowing how is like having the wrong key to the right door. How to do it. Mastering anything starts with breaking it down. The biggest trap in your path to progress isn't ignorance. It's overcomplication. A lot of people believe success is hidden behind secret formulas or gifted people with rare talent. But the truth? It's way more accessible than that. What looks like magic is usually just a bunch of small steps done well and repeated over and over. Successful people aren't from another planet. They've just gotten really good at turning ideas into visible action. They operate with surgical simplicity. What you call talent, they call good training. Ever notice how great communicators never say, "Just be charismatic"? Instead, they say, "Smile when you greet someone. Use the person's name. Make eye contact. Change your tone of voice when needed." That's operational thinking. It's about turning the intangible into something you can actually do. If you want to feel more confident when speaking in public, don't start on a big stage. Start by recording voice notes explaining simple topics. Then send them to a friend. Then practice standing up with a timer, like you're on stage. Small steps, big changes. People give up because they try to skip stages. They want to be a master without going through the apprentice phase. But consistent action, even if slow, turns any beginner into a pro. A brand new real estate agent doesn't need to know everything about the market. They need to know how to greet a client, how to listen, how to follow up properly. The rest? It comes with time, repetition, and real experience. Because everything, and I mean everything, is trainable. Here's the formula. Break the skill down into such small pieces that it's almost impossible to get them wrong. Don't know how to run ads? First, learn how to write a headline. Then learn how to use one platform. Then test a simple ad with $10 a day. This is practical resilience. Every small win builds real confidence. Don't skip this process. It's what shapes the person you're trying to become. And get this, when you simplify the process, not only do you learn faster, you also become able to teach. And teaching reinforces everything you've learned. It's a powerful cycle. Mastering a skill is more about breaking it down than building it up. And when everything finally seems clear enough, it's time to ask something deeper. If people know what to do, and even how to do it, why do so many still not take action? Let's dive into that. How to do it. Mastering anything starts with breaking it down. The biggest trap in your path to progress isn't ignorance. It's overcomplication. A lot of people believe success is hidden behind secret formulas or gifted people with rare talent. But the truth? It's way more accessible than that. What looks like magic is usually just a bunch of small steps done well and repeated over and over. Successful people aren't from another planet. They've just gotten really good at turning ideas into visible action. They operate with surgical simplicity. What you call talent, they call good training. Ever notice how great communicators never say, "Just be charismatic"? Instead, they say, "Smile when you greet someone. Use the person's name. Make eye contact. Change your tone of voice when needed." That's operational thinking. It's about turning the intangible into something you can actually do. If you want to feel more confident when speaking in public, don't start on a big stage. Start by recording voice notes explaining simple topics. Then send them to a friend. Then practice standing up with a timer, like you're on stage. Small steps, big changes. People give up because they try to skip stages. They want to be a master without going through the apprentice phase. But consistent action, even if slow, turns any beginner into a pro. A brand new real estate agent doesn't need to know everything about the market. They need to know how to greet a client, how to listen, how to follow up properly. The rest? It comes with time, repetition, and real experience. Because everything, and I mean everything, is trainable. Here's the formula. Break the skill down into such small pieces that it's almost impossible to get them wrong. Don't know how to run ads? First, learn how to write a headline. Then learn how to use one platform. Then test a simple ad with $10 a day. This is practical resilience. Every small win builds real confidence. Don't skip this process. It's what shapes the person you're trying to become. And get this, when you simplify the process, not only do you learn faster, you also become able to teach. And teaching reinforces everything you've learned. It's a powerful cycle. Mastering a skill is more about breaking it down than building it up. And when everything finally seems clear enough, it's time to ask something deeper. If people know what to do, and even how to do it, why do so many still not take action? Let's dive into that. Why you should do it, but don't. Picture someone standing still in the middle of the road. They see the path ahead, but there's an invisible wall in front of them. They know what to do. They understand how to do it, but something holds them back. That's what I call the valley of despair. It's the place where most people give up simply because they don't see quick results. The issue isn't the plan, it's the mind. This is where motivation needs muscle. What separates those who keep going from those who quit isn't talent. It's how much discomfort they're willing to push through. Here's the truth. Success doesn't always reward the fastest. It rewards the most resilient. On the outside, life gets messy. The economy changes. Sales slow down. Markets shift. That's part of the game. But if you're just waiting for the perfect moment to take action, you've already lost. Your environment can't be your excuse. It needs to become your laboratory. Because when everything feels like it's falling apart, that's exactly when your best skills are forged. A salesperson who learns to close deals during tough times becomes unstoppable when things get better. A professional who resists the temptation to quit builds a reputation no crisis can shake. And on the inside, that's the real battlefield. Perceived deprivation is the fuel of motivation. You don't chase something just because you lack it. You chase it because you feel like you should already have it. That's why even wealthy people stay hungry. They're not comparing themselves to who's behind them. They're focused on who's 10 steps ahead. So if your engine feels out of gas, maybe it's because you're surrounded by people who make you feel comfortable, not challenged. Change that. Start comparing yourself to your future self and watch your fire come back. Want proof? Spend time with 5 people who make 10 times more money than you. Within a week, your standards rise. Your focus shifts. You start moving differently, almost automatically. That's emotional leverage. Your circle either builds or destroys your momentum. And the crazy part? Sometimes, all it takes is following people who already do what you want to do. The right network is more powerful than any degree because it gives you real examples, real proof, real mirrors of what's possible. So now that you understand it's not about willpower, but about your environment, your clarity, and your internal drive, here comes a question no one likes to face. Are you really willing to become that person? Not just think like them, but act like them every single day, even when no one is watching. If the answer is yes, then it's time to discover who you need to become to sustain this new path. And that will take way more than just wanting it. Who you need to become. There's a modern myth that holds a lot of people back. The idea that you need to be someone new before you can start acting differently. That's nonsense. You don't wait to become a marathon runner before you start running. You run, and over time, you become one. Identity is built through repetition, through sweat, through consistent action, even on the days when you don't feel like it. Extraordinary people aren't powered by eternal inspiration. They just do what needs to be done every single day without relying on motivation. To be is to do. And the sooner you understand that, the faster you'll become who you were meant to be. Think about a pianist. He doesn't wake up one day and feel like the piano guy. He sits down, plays badly, makes mistakes, repeats, improves. And after hundreds of repetitions, people start calling him a musician. Identity is a label that others give you once the evidence stacks up. So stop waiting to feel ready. Start acting like your future self right now. Dress like them. Study what they study. Talk the way they talk. Use your time the way they would. That's not pretending. That's conscious self-improvement. Want to know a secret? Work shapes you far more than you shape the work. Every promise you keep, every task you complete without an excuse is like one drop in the bucket of your self-confidence. And one day, that bucket overflows, and you finally see that, yes, you become that person. Disciplined, resilient, capable of turning intention into execution. The magic isn't in the plan, it's in the practice. And that applies to everything. Business, health, relationships. The rule never changes. Want to be more creative? Write one idea a day. Want to be more organized? Plan your week every Sunday. Want to become a leader in your field? Create valuable content for 90 days without stopping. You become an expert by doing what experts do. Consistently. No mystery. But it does take commitment. And commitment means saying yes to the person you want to become and no to everything that holds you back. Here's the hard truth. Every new identity requires you to let go of an old one. And yes, that hurts. But inside that pain is where transformation lives. The best part? Transformation begins the moment you start acting like your best self. The recognition, the results, the applause, that all comes later. All it takes is consistency and time. So when you start, that question, my friend, should have been asked long ago. Because what separates the dreamers from the doers is the moment they make the one decision that changes everything. When to start. You know that old excuse. Now's just not a good time. Yeah, that's exactly why now is the perfect time to start. It's like training during a storm. If you learn how to row in rough waters, you'll sail like a master when the sky's clear. If you're waiting for life to be perfectly aligned before you take action, you're missing the point. The path doesn't appear before you start walking. It appears because you start. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. If you can't learn to win in chaos, you'll never be able to handle success when peace comes. And that applies to anything. Changing careers, starting a business, losing weight, building a YouTube channel, anything. Now, let's talk about the most common excuse. I don't have time. Yes, the classic. Funny thing is, the busiest people, parents, business owners, people juggling bills and goals, they're often the ones who move forward the fastest. Why? Because they learn to do more with less. They cut out what doesn't matter and focus only on what does. Maybe your problem isn't time. Maybe it's what you're doing with it. Check your screen time for hours a day on Instagram, and you're telling yourself there's no time to study, train, or build something new. And here's another trap. The when I have X, then I'll do Y logic. That's a dead end. It's not when I have more money, I'll invest. It's I'll invest and I'll learn how to multiply it. It's not when I feel confident, I'll put myself out there. It's I'll show up and the confidence will come with repetition. This cycle has trapped thousands of people in a loop of eternal preparation. They're always rehearsing, but never stepping on stage. And time, it keeps passing, while the ones who act reap the rewards of imperfect courage. What most people forget is that progress doesn't require speed. It requires consistency. Starting now doesn't mean rushing. It means taking the first step, even a small one, but doing it today. Want to write a book? Start with one paragraph. Want to fix your finances? List your expenses. Want to sell more? Make 5 calls. The first action might not be epic, but it opens the path. And once that path opens, growth, confidence, and results begin to follow. Now think with me. What if you started acting like your future self today? Right in the middle of the chaos, the excuses, and the doubts? What if you decided to become that person now, with the resources you have, exactly as you are? Because here's the truth. You become your future self the moment you start acting like them. And that is where everything starts to change. But only if you're ready to play the real game, the game of continuous transformation. So tell me, what's stopping you now? Now that you know exactly what to do, how to do it, why it matters, who you need to become, and when to start, what could possibly still be holding you back? Are you really going to let your old excuses have more power than your future vision? Will you keep waiting for perfect timing? Or will you finally realize timing is something you create? You've made it this far for a reason. Something inside you wants more, wants to break out of autopilot, wants to leave mediocrity behind and write a new story. So let me ask you, looking straight into your conscience, what action will you take today? Will you write down what's holding you back? Flip your self-sabotaging habits? Take that first step, even a small one. Winning isn't about luck. It's about courage. Courage to change when no one's watching. Courage to keep going when no one's cheering. Courage to stay committed to your future self. even when no one else understands. Do you have that courage? Or are you going to waste another cycle, another year, another chance? The choice is yours now. Drop a comment below. What's the first step you're going to take? I want to know. And if this message made you pause, made you reflect, or better yet, made you decide, then subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, and join us on this journey of self-mastery, discipline, execution, and real transformation. Because here, we don't just talk about winning. We learn how to win at anything.